Okay. Okay, so this woman made a Reddit account specifically to write to me. And as I read this, the way she wrote this, she already knows that so many people are going to hammer her. And this, if you listen to this, this is precisely why I say to have some grace and compassion when you're listening to these story times, because she is preemptively insulting herself because she knows how some women just want to dig into women who just are not making good relationship choices. So to that I say compassion and grace. And if you don't have anything that is going to be specifically helpful, just listen to the video and scroll by. Don't leave your mean-spirited comment. So she says, boyfriend is unfaithful, but I'm financially stuck. She says, now that I've gone back to proofread, I realize how out of order and dumb my whole post sounds. So I apologize for how I typed everything. I only need advice on how to start out by myself finding a job in childcare. I do not need to be told how stupid I am for putting myself in this situation. Trust me, I know I'm idiotic. I've been beaten. I've been beaten down enough verbally and mentally by him. So I just need advice. Please do not judge me or criticize, as I know that my past decision making was totally stupid in every way. I'm really, to make a really long story short, I'm 25 years old, and my boyfriend is 31. We have been living together for a little over 5 years, and we have 4 kids. I was dumb and young and thought this is what he wanted and that he'd marry me one day. Now that I've been watching a lot of videos about narcissistic abuse, I know this is what I have been experiencing. I never knew what the word narcissism was or meant. I know he doesn't want marriage, or he would have already made an effort. Plus, narcissists usually aren't capable of ever loving anyone. I had a few waitressing jobs off and on, but usually after I would give birth, I would quit my job and then just go back to work after my baby turned about 6 months. Well, this time I didn't. We discussed it and he said he didn't want me to go back to work because he wouldn't trust anyone to watch our kids. I know I'm stupid for not going back to work. I have no money, no job, and an old beat down car that needs $2,000 worth of work done, and he doesn't want to spend. He makes around $8,000 a month. I do everything except make a paycheck. I've caught him being unfaithful behind my back before, but I never had any evidence of him sleeping with anyone. Recently, I found a black hair tie in his stuff, and I know it's not mine because I've always had blonde hair and I buy the brown hair ties. I've never bought black ones in my life. I asked him about it, and of course, he says it's mine, but I know it's not. I told him I know he's lying, but he doesn't care because I can't prove it. During my third pregnancy, I developed a thyroid disease, and it makes me extremely tired and gain weight. So I used to be very attractive and fit, and now I'm not. I know that's not an excuse to cheat, but it makes me feel worse about myself every day. During my fourth pregnancy, I got tired of seeing the messages on his phone and had intrusive thoughts for months about driving off a huge bridge by our house. I genuinely want to do it and just go to eternal rest, but I can't because my kids need me. At this point, I'm just ranting, sorry, but his abuse didn't end at verbal and emotional part. He only slapped me one time, which scared me. He was busy on the TV with his dumb video games while I was taking care of our very fussy baby, and the other toddler was in the kitchen crying. He didn't care. So I got mad and gave him the middle finger because I needed help with the kids, and he slapped my whole arm out of the way. I know it doesn't sound like a big deal, but he is huge, and his hands are huge, and it hurt. I want to make it a point that I never deprived him of sex in any way, but in certain times or situations I just wouldn't feel like doing anything, especially after giving birth. But he practically made me do stuff for like 2 weeks after having our fourth child. I told him flat out I do not want to do anything. I don't want to say forced, but he basically did. He is way stronger than me, and he always assumed I was lying when I said I don't want to. Typing all this out makes me feel super dumb and insecure. Sorry. I don't have family I can stay with because obviously I have 4 kids and he refuses to let me use money for childcare. So in my mind, I can't think about how to get myself out of this situation. If he let me spend money on a babysitter, I could easily get a job. I thought about going to a women's shelter, but that's only a temporary fix. I don't know how to get a job with no childcare or anywhere to live. I could get child support, but it takes time. And once he finds out I filed, he would kick me out. I have been financially abused for years now. I've been wanting to take my life, but I won't. I'm stuck in the house 24/7 with the kids and I'm going crazy. I've tried to find work from home, but all of them require being on the phone, and my kids are still young babies. They need a lot of care during the day and they're really loud 24/7. I wouldn't be able to get away with it. I've been thinking for months about what to do and I just can't figure it out. My kids aren't old enough to be in school yet. I was going to stay and just wait until my kids were old enough to be in school and then get a job and leave until I found a new contact in his phone and did a Google search of the number. And it's a girl who I've seen him messaging on an app before. I decided I'm finally just done. I can't keep living like this. I genuinely feel like this stress is going to unalive me soon. I don't know what words can be used here. Anyways, I'm sorry for the dumb rant, and I just have no clue what to do, and I have zero friends to talk to. And just so y'all know, she's in the Houston area. That's what she told me in the email. I'm sorry, in the chat box. She's in Houston area. So if you guys know of any resources that could help this woman, obviously she's at her wits' end. She's been fine. She just sounds drained. She sounds tired. She's at her wits' end and doesn't know what to do. And I don't know what to do except what I do, which is create content. And hopefully somebody can swoop in with an answer that could help direct her to a place that could help this. Jump in the comments. Let me know what you think. Let her know what you think. And don't forget to like, comment, and share. So these days, I have people signing up for Reddit just to send me story times. So this woman wanted to talk to me about her parents' relationship. She titles it My Parents' Relationship Implosion. She says, Hi, I'm a longtime viewer and I just wanted to share my experience in the last few months just to get some insight and also to share in general. This is a long post because it's months of events, so be aware. Some info. Her mom, 62, works a lot, owns the house we live in. Dad, 55, works as a consultant in a nearby city and has a second job as a teacher. She's 24 and a middle child. Older brother is 27, little brother is 20. She says, I'm only staying at home for a few months while I finish my thesis. I used to live in another city due to university. My parents have been married for 28 years. Well, last year, more or less in September, my mom found some messages on my father's phone. He was telling another woman that he loves her and misses her, and the woman was stroking his ego and he was eating it up. My mom called me crying to tell me that she has discovered the text and that same night confronted my dad about it. It was official. My father was cheating, hopefully only emotionally, but who knows at this point. According to my little brother, they had many fights from that moment on, and living at home was hell. I was not there at the time. I made many excuses to not go, but we talked with my mom through the phone. We call each other every day since I went to university 7 years ago. In the calls, I got her version of the events. Apparently, my father had this friendship with this other woman in the last 2 years, and that eventually turned into more because the heart wants what the heart wants, and we cannot control it. He also had many grudges with my mom that he never spoke about. That my mom was too controlling. That she never added his name onto the deed. My mom was already paying a mortgage when they met, and that she was too demanding. That no one appreciates him. And his biggest one, that he has never worked on his own life project ever, and that he only added to those around him. He is having a midlife crisis. All of this, all of this is due to a midlife crisis. I personally was also heartbroken. My mom was suffering so much. My little brother also needed me. And you know what? I also felt betrayed by my dad. He was never as close to us as my mother. He used to work all week and sleep on weekends. But we still remember finally watching cartoons with him on Sundays. Who was this man spewing all this nonsense? He used to be just calm and reliable. Who was this man? Saying something to your face with honesty while you know it's not the truth. He could lie so easily. His view on the world is completely skewed. It's like he was delusional. He tried to tell us many times this is but a small thing going on in our marriage. You don't have to worry. It's our problem. As if mom was also to blame for his infidelity. And then he would cry and moan because he was so lost. It was me who had to tell him, please seek a psychologist. You need someone with you. Why can't he be responsible for his own emotions? He is the parent. I am the daughter. I was so mad. Continuing because there's more. Each got psychologists and a third one for couples counseling. But the couples counseling didn't stick. My dad's psychologist wanted to do their counseling personally, and I think that psychologist has a problem of ethics. My mom got antidepressants and asked my dad to leave the house. My father procrastinated all he could to not leave. I arrived that day at home. Would you believe that he later tried to tell me that my mom begged him to remain at home, that he was the one who wanted to leave, like I hadn't seen the whole thing unfold? What a moron. After he left, he rented an expensive place in the center of the city. He earns well, sure, but that was a waste of money. Things got better at the house. My mom stopped taking antidepressants and she started worrying about herself. Sadly, my grandma got really, really ill at that time, and because my mom doesn't drive, she had to ask for help from my dad. My grandma was in the hospital for 2.5 weeks. It was hard and stressful, but thankfully she is all right now. My parents then entered a dynamic of together, not together. They went on dates and messaged daily, but also fought randomly. We spend Christmas as a family with my two brothers and dad. We spend New Year's only, my parents and I. My parents seem to be on their honeymoon, kisses and hugs, secret escapades to F, I imagine. I don't care. It was kind of disgusting. I felt like we were playing a theater play. What kind of lie was that? 2 weeks ago, my mom told me that they were over because apparently she asked him, will we go back to this marriage? Are you ready to come back? And my dad chose freedom. But the underlying request there was for my dad to leave the work that he has at the other city. He can work remotely, and he also wants to leave that job, and for him to work in an office in our city. At the end, it feels as if my mom is asking for nothing, only fidelity from him. And he just doesn't want to do that because the truth is, we don't know if he's still in contact with the other woman. We don't want to know. The only thing that he has told us is that he wants to work in the city, leave that job, own property, but it's been months and he has done nothing. By the way, they are now talking again. Extra note, I have learned a lot from their marriage in the last months. Turns out a lot of stuff was not as happy as it seems. I could share more, but the post is already too long. Being that they were together for nearly 3 decades is going to take mom a lot of years, definitely a lot of years to unravel this. But the fact that she had to go on antidepressants because of this man, and miraculously she didn't need the antidepressants once he left, it is telling in itself. This marriage is not healthy for this woman, and she's 62 years old. She doesn't need to be going into retirement, in her retirement stage, stressing over this man who is having a midlife crisis. This man is dumping his adultery, his issues onto his children, and he's going to end up in the old man Mojo Dojo Casa House because of it, because he is going to alienate his kids, and his kids are already closer to mom than they are to him. Okay, so this person responded, this is so sad. I think your mom could benefit a lot from cutting him off completely and getting a divorce. But I know it's hard for people who have been together so long, even when the relationship has been rough. She even stopped taking antidepressants and was fine when he wasn't around. That says a lot to me. Me too. Is she on them now? It's different for everyone, but when I was on them, I turned into a completely different person and was even more prone to putting up with behavior and abuse because it felt good enough to not care about it when I really should have cared. I put myself in risky situations that I'm normally way too risk averse to even consider, and I kept having relations with a guy who had dumped me and who was the reason I needed antidepressants in the first place. It was a mess. The medication saved my life, but I was also relieved when I had to stop taking them because when the side effects got bad. In any case, your parents should not be dragging any of their children or anyone else into their problems. Your dad especially should be ashamed of himself. Hopefully, you don't have to stick around very long. This could motivate your little brother to move out as well. I don't think that dynamic is healthy for anyone. Stay safe and good luck. Grumpy on Main basically made it succinct, and we're going to leave it there, and just have a discussion about how a parent's relationship can impact children. Why don't these cheaters think about the family dynamics? It's not just them and their affair partner. All of that doesn't happen in a vacuum. It impacts everybody that is in the circle. But you guys go ahead, chime in, let me know what you think, and don't forget to like, comment, and share. So this man is in his find out season. He is finding out how truly amazing his wife is because she said, I'm going to show you better than I can tell you. So this man, he's posting this in the relationship advice subreddit. He says, told my wife, who's 35, that she couldn't do it without me. Turns out she can. That title enough is enough to make me chuckle. Okay, so he says, I made one stupid, selfish comment to my wife a week ago or so, and now my life is in a disarray. My wife is in some crisis. Her work is closed and she's being paid, but she's home with our kids now, including one 3-year old. She gets breaks on Monday and Friday with childcare. We went into having kids knowing she wanted to be a working mother, so this has been an adjustment to say the least. On to the original fight. She spent a long day with our kids and the neighboring kids, and when I came upstairs from work, she asked for a break. I didn't respond well. I made excuses and didn't offer to help. For the first time in years, my wife lost her temper and cursed at me. Like an idiot, I dug in and thought I was right. I admit we both said some unkind things, but after Reddit humbled me and she made me sit down and write a list of things I did for the family that day and compared it with her longer list, I apologized. She accepted and I figured things would go back to normal. They haven't. My wife used to include me in parenting our kids. I did a dance pickup most weeks, and bedtime was split. I gave baths, made dinner, all the stuff. Since our fight, my wife hasn't asked me for any help with the kids. The first morning I woke up on what was supposed to be my morning with the kids, I figured she was just being nice or trying to prove a point, but it keeps happening. She didn't even send them down to say goodnight to me last night. Normally, my wife does this silly game where she sends my son to ask me to read 5 books, and then we would negotiate down to one or two and race upstairs. Last night, I heard her racing him and came up to find her doing bedtime yet again. The kids haven't even noticed. It's like she's replacing me. When we were fighting, I said something really, really dumb that's living inside of me and festering. My wife was being nasty and said, you wouldn't see the kids a quarter as much as you do if I didn't arrange it, and I'm done managing you. I defended myself. I'm not an absent parent, and said something along the lines of, I'd like to see how long you can manage without me. Consider my foot officially in my mouth. She started running again. She's cooking really healthy and often. Every night I come home to my perfectly happy Stepford wife doing it all without me, and I feel empty inside. So she out here doing it all. She said, I bet. I bet. So he knows that he's in trouble. All right, he says, how do I fix this? I don't even know where to begin. At this point, I want to beg her to go back to how things were. This wasn't what we agreed on. Edit. F guys, I get it. I'm a piece of poop. I'm going to make this right. Edit number 2. Thank you to the handful of people that reached out with advice. Believe it or not, I do want to be a good father and husband. I've royally effed up, and I see that and fully admit it. This is going to be my only edit, and then I'm going to get off my phone for a while and focus my attention on my family. My wife had dinner cooked when I got home. Everything is fine between us, so there wasn't any tension. After we cleaned up, I went upstairs and ran my wife a bath, put Taylor Swift on her Alexa, and lit a few candles. I told her to go relax upstairs for the night. She was surprised but smiled and went on her way. I'm currently on the toilet watching my kids take a bath. People mention love bombing, etc., but I'm trying anything I can to show her I do appreciate her and our family, and I want to be a present father. I'm going to do bedtime tonight and probably all next week. I'll tell her she does so much during the day. She deserves a break because it's the truth. I get that I come off as an a-hole. I grew up in not a great situation and didn't have the best role models growing up. I'm terrified of my children not having enough, and I overcompensate by working too much. The new job came with a pay increase, but the hours are longer, and I feel like I can never keep up. I've reached out to a few recruiters tonight. I've used my I used to love my job and it was all and was always home by 4:30, even if it means taking the lost income. I'm thinking about going back. Relationships are hard and humans aren't perfect. For all the people telling me my kids don't love me and I'm just a waste of space, I don't know, guys. Just remember, I'm an actual person. That shit's rough. Anyways, that's all I have for you folks. I need to watch these kiddos and start planning out my long road of groveling and reconnecting. Thank you. Thanks all. I'm sorry. Thank you. So this one had a fairly good ending. He realized that he does not want to end up alone in the old man Mojo Dojo Casa house. He doesn't want his wife to leave him. So he's recognized his mistakes and he is trying to fix it because he could see that his wife could totally do it without him and that she was being gracious and, managing their time together because he was oblivious at first. And hopefully some of the 16 to 17 men who watch my videos over the various spaces can understand that this is how you have an epiphany and self-correct. Anyways, let's look at just a couple of these comments. This person said, "You literally said your wife told you you wouldn't see your kids a quarter as much as you do if I didn't arrange it and I'm done managing you. Now you're proving her point. She's not going out of her way to arrange it, and you're not making an effort to do anything." And then this person says, literally this though, like he's acting like she's holding them ransom. But from this post, they're all still in the same house. The only change is that mom isn't specifically helping dad to be a present parent. And then this person says, OP is acting like a like a reigning monarch. Bring them to me. She didn't even send them down to say goodnight last night. And instead of getting off his butt and saying goodnight to him, he just let them go to bed without a hug or a kiss or anything, all because his wife didn't instruct his kids to go to him. Wow. And then this person says, also notice how he never said anything about trying to apologize to her. King doesn't want to be knocked off his throne. Instead, he's love bombing her and acknowledges he does so he has no idea how else to fix this. OP, here's how you fix this. If your partner is too hurt to talk, you do better. In your case, be an active father, take care of your children, give her a break, add yourself into the equation. For you, this means pick up some more chores in the house, not for the time being, but make it a permanent change. You live there too. This house is also your responsibility. Talk. No hollow apologies. Actually talk about what happened, where you are, where you want to go, how you want to communicate and be better in the future. This so you know what? I'm going to leave it there because there's no need to like pile on. He knows that he messed up. He knows he messed up and he seems genuine, but this is Reddit. Who knows? Hopefully, there is a lovely update on the end because I'm not that person to say just break up if he's actually trying. And this man seems like he gets it. He's acknowledging it. So we'll see. But you guys go ahead and weigh in. What do you think about this one? Like, comment, share.